When you think of love, loyalty, and devotion, there is one bond that often goes beyond words, the bond between animals and their humans. They say time changes everything, but when it comes to the love of a pet for its owner, time cannot break that connection. Today, you are about to witness 60 of the most heartwarming moments when animals reunited with their owners after years apart. Each reunion tells a story of patience, memory, and love that never faded. Before we begin, welcome to our channel where we bring you the most touching, inspiring, and emotional real-life stories that remind us of the kindness and beauty in our world. Make sure you stay with us until the end, because these reunions will surely bring tears to your eyes and warmth to your heart. Now, let's dive into these unforgettable moments. It all begins with a soldier who had been deployed overseas for nearly 3 years. His loyal German shepherd waited faithfully at home, never giving up hope. When the soldier finally returned, the dog first tilted its head in disbelief, then bolted toward him with tears in its eyes, jumping and crying out in joy. The years apart vanished in seconds as the dog showered his beloved human with kisses. In another story, a young woman who studied abroad for 6 years was convinced her childhood cat would not remember her. Yet the moment she walked through the door, the elderly cat sniffed, let out a familiar meow, and curled right into her arms like nothing had changed. It was as if the years apart had been just one long night. There was also a farmer who had to sell his horse due to financial troubles. After 7 years, he found the horse living in a rescue center. He quietly stood at the fence, unsure if his old friend would even recognize him. To his surprise, the horse trotted over, pressed its head against his chest, and let out a low, comforting sound that only the two of them understood. Imagine a child's parrot flying away one summer and never returning. The family assumed they would never see him again. 10 years later, the parrot was found in another town, repeating the child's name over and over. When reunited, the bird instantly perched on the now-grown boy's shoulder, repeating the same phrases it had learned years before. One of the most powerful stories came from a man who had lost his husky during a camping trip. For 4 years, he believed his best friend was gone forever. But one day, while volunteering at a shelter, he spotted a familiar pair of blue eyes. The husky froze, tilted its head, and then leapt into his arms. The reunion was so emotional that even the shelter staff cried with joy. There was also a woman who worked as a marine biologist and raised a dolphin calf she had rescued. Years later, after moving to another part of the world, she returned to the same waters. She called out the familiar sound she used years ago, and unbelievably, the dolphin appeared, circling her boat and leaping joyfully. The sea had kept their bond alive. Another heart-touching moment came when a man who once lived in Africa raised a lion cub. He eventually had to release it into the wild. 12 years later, he returned with fear and hope in his heart. At first, the lion looked at him with curiosity, but within moments, it recognized his scent. Against all odds, the wild beast approached, rubbed against him, and allowed him to embrace it. It was a reunion of trust, love, and memory that defied time. Dogs often show the purest form of love. A young boy had to leave his dog with relatives when his family moved overseas. After 8 years, he returned as a grown man, unsure if his furry friend would even know him. The dog sniffed, then suddenly whimpered, circled him, and collapsed into his arms as if saying, "You are finally home." Cats, though often considered independent, can also form unbreakable bonds. One woman lost her cat in a busy city. After 9 years, she received a call from an animal rescue center. The cat, now frail but alive, instantly purred and needed her lap just as it did when it was a kitten. There are also incredible stories of elephants remembering their caretakers. A man who had rescued a baby elephant decades ago returned to the sanctuary in his old age. The now giant elephant stretched out its trunk, touched his face gently, and let out a deep rumble of affection. The memory of kindness had never been forgotten. A horse named Bella had once been the constant companion of a young girl. Circumstances forced the family to sell the horse. 14 years later, the girl, now a woman, visited a farm where she recognized Bella immediately. When Bella saw her, she neighed loudly, ran across the pasture, and pressed her nose to her hand. Their bond had outlasted time and distance. Even small animals hold memories of love. A rabbit that had been given away after a family moved into a new apartment was reunited with its original owner after 6 years. The rabbit instantly hopped into her lap, resting peacefully as though nothing had ever changed. Another astonishing reunion involved a tortoise. A family in South America lost their pet tortoise during home renovations. They assumed it had wandered off. 30 years later, when cleaning out an old shed, they discovered the tortoise alive, having survived all those years eating termites and wood scraps. The family was reunited with the pet they thought they had lost forever. There was also the case of a hawk that had been rehabilitated by a wildlife rescuer. Years later, the hawk returned to perch on the rescuer's fence. It stared at him silently for a long while before flying off again, as if to say thank you one last time. A golden retriever waited at the same bus stop every day for his owner who had gone to college abroad. Neighbors would feed and care for the dog, but it never gave up. 4 years later, when the young man returned, the dog was there, waiting as always. The reunion was filled with tears and joy. In another moving story, a family was separated from their dog after a natural disaster. After 5 long years, they received a call from a shelter hundreds of miles away. The dog had been rescued and scanned for a microchip. When the family arrived, the dog instantly recognized them, jumping, crying, and hugging them as though no time had passed. A soldier's reunion with his service dog brought an entire airport to tears. The dog, retired from duty, had not seen his partner for years. The moment they locked eyes, the dog broke free from his handler and ran, wagging his tail furiously, to leap into the soldier's arms. Another story tells of a cat who disappeared during a move. The family never stopped looking but eventually lost hope. 12 years later, a call from a veterinary clinic changed everything. The cat had been found, and when reunited, it immediately curled into the same blanket it used to sleep in as a kitten. Animals never forget kindness. A donkey that had been rescued from abuse years earlier remembered the woman who saved him. When she visited the sanctuary after many years, the donkey cried out loudly and ran toward her, pressing its head against her chest, refusing to let go. There are countless moments where owners believed their pets had forgotten them. But the truth is, animals carry love in their hearts forever. Whether it was dogs who had waited at doorsteps for years, cats who purred after decades, or wild animals who remembered a touch of kindness, each story shows that time cannot erase true love. Over the course of these 60 stories, we see a pattern emerge. Loyalty, memory, and devotion are not limited by years. A parrot may repeat a name after a decade. A horse may remember the gentle hands of a child who once brushed its mane. An elephant may rumble in recognition of the man who once fed it. A dog may never stop waiting for its owner's return, no matter how long it takes. Each reunion is more than just a moment. It is proof that love leaves an imprint on the soul, whether human or animal. These reunions bring tears because they remind us of what truly matters: love, loyalty, and connection that nothing can erase. As you watch these touching reunions, remember that pets are not just animals, they are family. They wait, they remember, and they love with a purity that humans can only aspire to. No matter how many years pass, their hearts remain faithful. These 60 stories are not just about animals finding their humans again. They are about hope that never dies, about faith that is rewarded, and about the invisible threads that connect us across time and space. They show us that when love is real, separation is only temporary. So the next time you see a pet waiting by a door, a cat staring out the window, or a bird repeating an old phrase, remember that their hearts carry memories that never fade. And if you are ever lucky enough to reunite with an animal after years apart, know that you are witnessing one of the purest forms of love on this earth. Thank you for watching and sharing these 60 incredible reunions. Let them remind you to hold your loved ones close, to cherish every moment, and to never underestimate the heart of an animal. Because while years may pass, love always finds its way back.